Hey everybody, I'm Robbie C. This is Zipsnaz, and behind me is the Atezr V35 Laser Engraver. I purchased it recently. One of my peeves right now is because I'm switching between rotary and then the actual use of the Y-axis on the machine. I have to keep trying to plug the wire harness end into the fitting on the motor, and that fitting on the motor is mounted up halfway underneath the frame, and I have a hard time getting my fat fingers under there. Either it's that or these connectors just aren't coinciding with each other. I have a P10 and I don't really seem to have as much of a problem with it, so I probably just leave it the way it is. But I've been switching, like I said, I've been switching between rotary and the Y-axis, so I'm continually doing this and it gets frustrating, so I'm just going to turn the motor. I don't see any reason why it couldn't be. I'm going to show you how to do that. You can make your own decisions as to what you want to do with your own machine. I'm just going to show you how I do my own thing. Along with that, I'll show you how to get the belt in and out around the motor. So I'll show you how I do it, and if you have your own ideas, leave a comment if you want. Please like, subscribe to my channel. That would make me happy. This is only my second video I'll be posting. I still have more that I've already filmed, but I haven't edited them yet. I'm going to get those up there too. I'll show you my ideas, and you guys can share your ideas with me. But let's change these belts and get this motor turned around. So here's where I have a hard time. I already unplugged this. This goes to the stop switch, but I have a hard time plugging this fitting into the motor. For some reason, my fat fingers can't either get in there, or there's a pin that's just not quite straight and it fights with me. So I don't want to end up breaking anything. I think it's safer to have the fitting here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn the motor 90 degrees and start plugging it in off to the side. It's going to make my life easier. With that being said, this coupling does not have to be loosened. It's going to stay attached to the motor. This one is a pressure coupling as opposed to the opposite side, where if you are the one that built this machine, you already know that this side, the rod, once you loosen up the two set screws on this rod will slide out a hole coming off the side. So that's the one we want to loosen, just so you have the play to push it a little bit. The motor will stay attached to the other coupling, and we'll go for there. All you have to do is you just only have to turn it a hair. These couplings, it's the actual set screw that pushes against the rod, and it's not tension or pressure. So once you loosen it, really, that's all you need to do. And when you tighten these, you only need to snug them. There's not a lot of torque on this machine, so just snug them. It's just there to turn this belt and make both sides of the Y-axis move together. So now that you have that loosened, our next step is to loosen these 4 screws that hold the motor in place. We just loosen them all the way up to the point to where they no longer come out of the machine, out of the motor. The motor's probably going to drop once I release this one. And that one's loose. So now that I have the coupling loosened on the other end, I can push the entire shaft and the motor, and all I'm going to do is turn the motor 90 degrees. I'm going to make sure that this belt stays between these 2 extension pieces inside right here, and then hopefully, even though there's a little bit of tension on the belt, I should be able to get my screws started with a little bit of pressure pushing the motor toward the back of the machine. And then the trick is really just to try to hold your motor, wiggle it a little bit, and get all 4 screws started. This one's started already. Just kind of wiggle the motor around until you find a point where the screw is catching the thread. And this one's going in fairly easy. That one's caught. You may just have to move around a little bit until you find that thread inside. That one's in. And you can see this screw is still not in. It's got the extension piece, the motor mount, and I just got that started. And now I'm just going to tighten all 4 of them. Simple as that. Tighten up all 4 screws. Now, I was able to do that without the belt falling off. There could be a scenario where the belt falls off, so if you struggle with trying to get the screws to line up after you've turned the motor, and you find it's easier to move the motor around without the tension from the belt, you can take the belt off and then put it on after you have the motor remounted. When it comes to taking a belt off, it's connected in 2 spots on either side of your y-axis. All you really need, a lot of times you can actually take it off without any tools, but I found that a pair of needle nose pliers, putting it back in, is easier. But really, that's it. It slides out of this side, and it also slides out of this side, but I'm not going to take this side out. But I'm going to pull the belt out, just to show you. And when you go to put the belt back in, it just actually fell out on me on this side. So make sure this side is in right there. The little piece of metal is on the inside. That's what keeps it from tugging out. Make sure you have your belt around this pulley and then just try to pull it. Now, what I found is if you keep your y-axis as close to the frame as possible, you have less chance of the belt slipping out on that end. And then putting the belt on, you just want to make sure that it's flat and not twisted as you're doing this. So keep it as if it was going around the pulley. You're going to want to feed it like this. And then here, this is where it can get a little bit tricky. So I have found, for me, the best way of doing this is to just make a little loop. Now you gotta make sure when you do this, you go in between these 2 extender pieces. You don't want to go over or under. Get one side of a screwdriver on it. With the screwdriver, and it's in. Okay, so after viewing the video of me putting the belt on with the screwdriver, I realized my hand was in the way the entire time and you couldn't see the thing I was doing. I'm still at a point where I'm having a hard time getting a camera in a position to where I can see what I'm doing and the camera can see what I'm doing. So I guess you're just going to have to try to envision this as I do it, because I can't really even see the belt or the tip of my needle nose pliers, and that's what I'm going to use now. So I'm creating basically the same loop I had created in the other video, making sure that my belt isn't going to be twisted, and I'm grabbing that loop. So basically, regardless, when I put the needle nose pliers against the frame, it's keeping my belt fairly flat, which is going to snake it up in between the frame and that gear right there. There's a little bit of space between the 2, and that's where you're going to sneak this belt in. But by holding it with the needle nose, you can manipulate it and keep it flat, as opposed to the screwdriver, you're kind of trying to keep it flat and push. But I can do both with the pliers. I can push it in and keep it flat against the frame. So basically, really, I can't even see what I'm doing right now, but I'm sneaking the needle nose up as far as I can, and then it's already brought it to a fairly decent position, and then I just push the top in around the gear, and I've already got it in. And just make sure you have it where you need it, and once you try it a few times, it's actually fairly easy. So that's the way I put my belt on through this motor. And once you have your belt You can try to put it in this slot with your hands, but I have found that a pair of needle nose pliers just grab this very end of the belt and pull until it pops in, and that's it. That's how you change your belt. Now my motor is at a much more convenient place to plug it in and unplug it. And I really do believe I have a pin or something that's not cooperating, but at least I don't fight with the frame of the machine to get it in and out. It's out of the way. I'll plug my stopper switch in, and this machine's ready to go again. Once again, this is my P10 machine. The rest of the video you watched was on the V35. I am going to turn this 90 degrees. It's so much more convenient. But right now I'll show you guys the V35. I have it set up. It's working great. I just did a test pattern on this glass with it, and everything was great other than the fact that the diode laser is 35 watts, and as you can see right here, it mirrors it the way it rotates, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. But while it was at 100%, the laser was at 100%, somewhere around here, I think this is where it ended up cracking my glass. But fortunately, it stayed together for the entire test, and it did print on the entire glass. So I'm going to try to wash this paint off without cutting myself and try to save this as my pattern. I'll take a couple of photos of it. And then eventually when I get my P10 up and running, I'll do material tests with the same settings, and I'll show you the differences on those. So look for future videos. I'll start engraving the same things with the same settings with two different machines, and we can kind of compare what the two are capable of. So let me show you the V35 real quick, and you'll see that it's so much more convenient. So this is the KR Pro 1 rotary I used for the test pattern on the glass. The beautiful thing about it is this tilts, and it's perfect for glasses that have a bevel or they have a cone shape, because obviously if it was on a normal rotary, one end it would be sitting much further from the laser than the other. So in this scenario, I can tilt it so both ends are even with the laser. But let me show you real quick. So now that I've got my motor turned, now my fitting or my connector is off to the side. I just disconnect. I can do it with one hand while I hold my camera, and it's as easy as just plugging it in. I don't have to move my machine at all. Normally it would be on the bottom under here, so it makes it a lot more convenient. Machine still works fine. Before the laser even gets close to this, it already hits the stop switch, so I have no problems with it being there. I'm going to reverse the other one on my P10 once I start taking the motherboard out. I'll have a video of that eventually when I get my motherboard. Still waiting on that. Hopefully I'll be getting a tracking number for it soon. Thanks for watching my video. I hope it was helpful. One thing I want to say is, if you plan on buying this machine or already have but haven't put it together yet, you can avoid a couple of steps by turning the motor 90 degrees before you put that rod in, which is something you'll have to do when you're putting this machine together. I really enjoy this machine. I've printed some things on it. My other one is being fixed or is in the process of waiting for a part for it. That's why I ended up buying this one, because I was impatient. But I also do want to do tutorials and help people out. So please like this video if it was helpful. Subscribe to my channel. This is only the second video I'll be posting. I have other footage that I've taken way before this that I just haven't gotten around to editing, and I've taken so long that I actually have to go back through and. But I will post a video eventually of me building the box that goes around my machines for ventilation, and I'm custom making it, trying to figure out what's best for me size wise. I just watched somebody else's video, and it's actually, their design's pretty cool, and I may build one of that type. Right now I'm personally struggling with lighting inside. I tried LEDs, but it's really not bright enough, and the lights that I bought for it are too big. So keep your eye out for those videos. Hopefully I can get them up and posted in the next near future. I have many things I'm trying to accomplish along with my videos and playing with my new machine. So like, subscribe, and I'll try to keep helping you guys out with videos. Thank you.